Welcome back, I'm Ryan from Bluewood Gaming, and in this video I'm going to be taking a look at Verdun, which is actually the first game that I got on the Steam Summer Sale, and I've been playing it almost every day since because I just love it so much. Now, all the problems that people have with Battlefield 1 being unrealistic and stuff, yeah, this game really takes that into account. Now, this game actually was released back before Battlefield 1 was even announced. It's entered in early access back in September of 2013, and it got released, I believe, sometime in 2015. Don't quote me on that, though. I don't remember the exact date that it went out. But, yeah, this is a realistic World War I FPS. That's pretty much the gist of it. As you can see in the background, I'm actually playing as a gunner with a light machine gun and a revolver as a sidearm. Now, all the weapons in it are mostly bolt-action rifles. That's usually what you're going to be using if you play this game, either a bolt-action rifle or a pistol. Those are the two most common types of weapons. It's pretty much just like World War I, where the average soldier would have a bolt-action rifle. Now, there is also some of the more prototype weapons that got very small releases, like the submachine guns and some more of those automatic weapons that you see just running around all over the place in Battlefield 1. Some of those are still in this game, but the basic submachine gun that you normally see in Battlefield 1 gameplay with the drum magazine off to the left side, I have used that a total of 2 times in this game. That's over the course of about 30 hours of playing. I've only used it about twice. So they're not common whatsoever. They're about as rare as they were actually back in World War I. Something else that's in Verdun that Battlefield 1 doesn't have is, well, first off, the French. They make up a large portion of the fights in Verdun, which actually all take place at real battles that you can see on an actual map when you're in the menus choosing where you want to go. Yeah, this has all real battles with the actual people that were fighting. So there's a whole lot of the French, there's a lot of the Germans, the English are in there a little bit, the Americans are in there a little bit. I believe there's also some other teams, but it's excuse me, it's pretty much the people that were fighting on the Western Front. If they were fighting on there, you can find them somewhere. And if they were in a specific battle that happens to be located inside Verdun, the game, not the actual battle, which you can play, by the way. But if one of the battles had some specific group in it, then you can play as that group. Now, one thing that Battlefield does have over this is that this game doesn't have any sort of single-player campaign. The entirety of this game is online multiplayer, so if you want an actual single-player World War I game, then this won't be for you, because everything in here is all entirely online with other people. And now to get on to the game modes that you're going to be playing with other people. There are 4 game modes in the game. There's the front lines mode, which is pretty much, it's what you're seeing in the background. It's pretty much going from one trench to another and just assaulting and defending trenches and having to travel across no man's land and all that, and it's very uniform where you're stuck in this trench and you have to defend this trench, and then, oh hey, now it's time to attack the enemy's trench and they're defending that trench, and it's all organized and pretty much together. Then next there's the attrition warfare, which is pretty much a variant of team deathmatch. You start with a certain number of lives, and whenever you lose that life, then the number goes down, and it's kind of like the ticket system in Battlefield. And when your team runs out of tickets or lives, then you lose. Then next there's the squad defense, which is it's kind of a single player mode, but it's a bot game mode where you're playing against bots and you're fighting off waves of bots in a 4-man squad. So if you want to play by yourself, that's kind of what you could do, but that is actually limited to only one map in the game. You don't have access to all the maps. Then the final one is Rifle Deathmatch, which is actually pretty much free-for-all mode, but you can only play with the bolt-action rifles, and so it won't be like Call of Duty. You actually have to have some pretty high skill to go around and shoot some people while they're running around as well. You also have to sometimes hang back and just hold position, which if you don't like camping, then you're not going to like this game, because that is a very effective way to get kills in this game and to secure and hold objectives, just sitting down in a hole and shooting anybody that comes near you. So yeah, then also one final thing to note about the game modes is that if you are playing on the US servers, you are only going to find games in the Frontlines mode and then occasionally in the Rifle Deathmatch mode. The other two, you will pretty much never find anybody. If you go over to the Europe servers, though, you will find people in all the different game modes. So if you want to play something besides what you're seeing in the background, which is Frontlines or like an occasional Rifle Deathmatch game, then you will pretty much need to have a good enough internet connection to keep up with the European players. Now, some other things that I forgot to mention that you might be seeing in the background is there's poisonous gas that special unit commanders can call in. Well, let me just talk about what the unit commanders can call in. They can issue the attack orders to attack the enemy trench. They can call in mortar strikes, which just cover pretty much a small little area in mortar strikes. They can also call in two different types of gas, but they essentially work the same way, where you have to put on your gas mask. And unlike Battlefield 1, where if you look, you can take off your gas mask really quickly and put it on really quickly, and it doesn't really obstruct your view all that much. In Verdun, it actually feels like you have a gas mask on and it's obstructing your vision, and you can hear your breathing and all that stuff. So if you don't have to have it on, you don't want it on. And it actually does take a realistic amount of time to pull it out and put on a gas mask. There's also a whole lot of gore in this game, actually. That got added in after release, but yeah, you can see people's legs get completely blown off. You can shoot people's arms off. Once I did have a decapitation, but that's not very common. It's mostly just you're losing your other 4 limbs. There's also, when you get shot, you will pool blood, and other people can see just blood laying all over the trenches and such where people have died. And speaking of pooling blood, when you get shot, you usually die in one hit. If you get shot above, if you get shot above the thighs, pretty much, mid thighs up, you will usually die in one hit. Unless it's a grazing shot, which I've lived a few of those, but I can guarantee that it's less than 10 times in my 30 hours where I've been shot and survived. So, yeah, very realistic with that. The ballistics in the game is also something that's handled realistically. You do have to account for some bullet drop when you're taking the longer shots, but in another realistic fashion, the guns aren't usually accurate enough to shoot 100-yard shots or 1,000-yard shots, or meters in that equivalent if you're not using yards. But most of the time, you're going to be shooting at somebody that's close enough that you can just aim at them and hit them. But if you're being a sniper, then you do have to take that into account. Also, the handling with the weapons, just the basic handling, that actually does take some more skill than just Call of Duty or Battlefield, because the weapons do sway a little bit and you do have to account for that. So it's a little bit harder to hit people, but you'll get used to it after about an hour or two. That's when I got used to it. And when you first start out, you'll just get shot and you won't know where it's coming from or whatever, because there's no kill cam. If you get shot, you just see your guy flailing around on the ground dead for about 5 seconds, and then you get respawned. But yeah, after about 2 to 3 hours, that's really when you're going to get a grip on everything. So now that I've covered pretty much everything about the game, I almost forgot to talk about the specific individual squad types and the people that are in the squads. So there's two different sides. There's the Central Powers, which is the Germans and such. Then there's the hell, I can't if I could speak properly. I can't even pronounce it. It's the Entente Powers or something. The Intent Powers. I'm terrible with the pronunciations like that. But starting on the Central Powers, you have a whole bunch of German names, pretty much. There's 5 different Central Powers squads. I will throw their names up right about now. Yeah, that's not even the correct way to write them because I don't have access to a German keyboard. I'll try to find, maybe, they might be written correctly if I look for one hard enough. But then on the other side, pretty much the Allied side, there's the Canadians, 2 versions of a French unit. Then there's also the Tommies, which is the English. Then there's the Belgians, and then the U.S. Marines and the U.S. Doughboys, which is pretty much the Marines and the Army. So those are the 12 squads that are currently in Verdun. There's free DLCs that are being added to the game, so there might be more squads as you're watching this, but those are what are currently in the game. And in each squad, there's 4 different roles that you can take. There's the squad leader, there is the marksman, then there's the support, and then there is the final one, which, depending on which team you're on, will either be some sort of raider, which is a melee focus class, or you'll be a bomber, which is a explosions and grenade based class. Yeah, the corporal, pretty much, not the corporal, but the squad leader, which is oftentimes called the corporal. It's pretty much, you usually use a pistol and you can call in the airstrikes and the attack orders and such like that. Then the marksmen, those have the sniper rifles and such like that. Then the support, there's two different types of support in the game. The first one is the light machine gunners who carry around the light machine guns. That's what you're seeing in the background is me actually playing as a support gunner. Then the other version is a spotter who uses a regular bolt-action rifle, but also they are one of the two classes that uses binoculars, so you can tell the rest of your team where the enemies are coming from and where their snipers might be hiding. So now that finally covers the entirety of Verdun, I personally really like it, but realize that this is not a game for everybody. If you intend to just come in here and run up over to the enemy and just shoot as many of them as you can, you're going to end up dead quite often, and most of the time that you're going to be playing, you're going to end up dead. This is pretty much, I would say that Verdun is to Battlefield 1 what Arma is to Battlefield. This is a more realistic take on the game. You will be just sitting in a trench for 5 minutes or so in a 30-minute game. You'll actually only be attacking and out of a trench for maybe 10 minutes of a 30-minute game, where the rest of it you're going to be sitting in a trench or you're going to be dead and in a respawning screen. Yeah, there's most of it you just have to sit down and listen to orders and actually talk with your team on what parts of the trench to actually defend and what parts need more guys and what parts don't need as many people protecting them. And yeah, some people, if you want to be a lone wolf, you're going to end up dead a lot, and respawning takes anywhere from instantaneously all the way up to 20-30 seconds, so you could be dead quite often, and you could be dead for a very long time. So if you like what you see in the background and you like what I've been talking about for the last 20 minutes, then you're gonna like Verdun. But if you don't, then just stay away from it. So that's it for this video. Remember, I'm Ryan from Bluewood Gaming, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next one.